devotional service, then he is considered as an animal. This is his essence. Why? Because you must see this guy is also very discriminating, and he is speaking very harshly, and he is criticizing every other religion. Because those who don't know who is God, they obviously are not listening about the pastimes of the Lord. So he is calling them also animal. He is not giving them any choice. So why is it like that? So the reason is that we are spiritual beings. But when we have this material body, our consciousness manifests through the mind. So although we are spirit and we are distinct from matter, distinct from body, and not only distinct but we are superior, because we can think, we can feel, we can know, and the matter cannot think, matter cannot know, cannot feel. But being superior to matter, our consciousness manifests through the mind. And if our mind is on something low, then our consciousness also manifests at that low level. If you are absorbed only in terrorism, then your consciousness is at that level of terrorism, just destroying others for whatever reason. So consciousness becomes degraded because animals, they are only interested. What is an animal? Animal is interested only its own welfare. It thinks of filling its own belly and that's all. Then it doesn't think more than that. Therefore animals, they don't have any tension, any anxiety. They don't have high blood pressure. They don't have high cholesterol level. Don't have heart problems. Why? Because they don't have any anxiety. They don't plan. They get food, then that's all. Then they can sleep wherever they are. And if they are not conscious of their knowledge. Even what they know, they don't know that they know. One thing is to know something and another is to know that you know. So it is only human beings who are aware of their knowledge. We are aware of our happiness and distress. Animals are not. When they are happy, they don't think I am happy. They are just happy. When they are miserable, they are not thinking that I am miserable. They are just miserable. So their consciousness is at this level, that whatever their mind is into or their senses are, they are completely at that level. They don't segregate themselves from that and think that actually I am suffering. So those people who do not realize this fact that I am not this body, I am soul, I am different, and they are simply at the level of mind, and then mind is controlled by the senses, then what happens that they are also like animals. Because what is the demand of this body? Food and sex and sleep. That's all. These are natural demands. They are designed. You can say that it is in the DNA or in the cell or the samskaras or whatever, but actually this is how the body works. It is naturally, the signals go and you feel hungry, and then signals go and the mind is agitated for sex, and after a few hours the mind becomes tired and you fall asleep. So if you just follow these things, then you are like an animal. Or I don't say you, I. Because if you say, then that may also be disturbing. If I think like this, then I am an animal. So this is what he is trying to say. But now if you think of God, who is only conscious, who does not have a material body, material thoughts, material mind, material activities, Everything about him is spiritual. And he is only thinking of others' welfare. He does not think of his own welfare because he is Atmaram. He is completely satisfied. He has no desires to fulfill. And only such a person can do welfare to others. We think that people are doing welfare to others. They are not interested in doing anything for themselves. Actually, that may look like it. If you take the microscope and you see them more minutely, you will find that they are not like that. Because unless you are completely liberated person, fully satisfied within yourself, why will you do anything like this? Your mind works naturally for your own thing. So God, He is Atmarama, Atmaramascha. Not only Atmarama, He is Mahatmarama. He even attracts Atmaramas. So therefore He can do welfare for others. And that's why it is repeated here again and again that we should hear about Him. As He said, that one who does not hear about Uttam Shloka Varta, about the activities of Uttam Shloka. Uttam Shloka also means one who is glorified in nice words, or he is worthy of praise. Why? Why is he worthy of praise? Because he does welfare to others. Who is remembered in the society not because somebody was very rich. There have been so many rich people in this world, we don't even know them. If you see the history, probably you will find their names. There was this Dale Carnegie or somebody from America who was very rich. So many rich people were there. But if they have not done anything for the society, then who remembers them? But somebody may not be rich. If they have done something for the society, for some welfare, some good work, then they are remembered. So God is a person who does only welfare. Even when he is playing, he is doing welfare. Even when he is eating, he is doing welfare for others. So that's why it is recommended that we hear about him. This is the meaning of hearing Krishna's pastimes. Because his pastimes are full of welfare for others, benefit for others. So if we hear, then we will become inspired. First of all, when we hear, then our consciousness will be elevated. Because whatever you hear and whatever you think, then your consciousness is at that level.
So you say he's the only one who does welfare for others?
He and his devotees, those who follow him, those who understand him. That's why it is being recommended here to hear about him, to understand him. Because once you will understand him, then you also want to do that. But we have to also understand what is welfare. In the material world, if you do something materially good for others, that is called welfare. But from spiritual point of view, it is not a very high welfare. You can distribute food, cloth, arrange for jobs. This is what people do in this world, and that is considered as welfare. But it doesn't help in the ultimate sense because it is not elevating their consciousness. So you give them food, and when their belly is full, what are they going to do? Wherever their mind is. At whatever level is their mind, whatever is their attachment, whatever is their discrimination, whatever their samskaras, their DNA or whatever you call, they will act according to that. So if they have a criminal mentality and you give them food, what will they do? Their mind will work only in criminal manner because that's their nature and they cannot transcend it unless you train them spiritually. So this is the best welfare. And therefore God and his devotees, they do the best welfare, that they uplift the consciousness of a person. And that solves the problem once for all. Because why people suffer? Because of low level consciousness, material consciousness, due to ignorance. So when you understand this, then you will realize why Sonaka is speaking like this. Otherwise, you read these verses to a common person, they will say, oh, this guy is, come on. They will shoot him. How can he talk like this? But actually, he is a very compassionate person. He is trying to wake us up and trying to show us what it means real welfare. And this charity begins at home. So first we have to do this welfare to ourselves. If our consciousness is not elevated, how we can elevate others' consciousness? If we ourselves are bound, how can we liberate others? If my hands are tied, how can I release somebody else whose hands are tied? So first I must release myself. So he is giving this program, and therefore he is saying that all these people who are not engaged in devotion, what are they doing? They are wasting their life. Whether we can say that sun is taking away their life, or they are like animals, or they are like trees, or whatever. So all it means is that they are not doing for what they have been designed. This human body is a very nice design. In this body, when the soul is put, then mind can go to a very high level of consciousness. It's like you have a car, you can have a small car, Maruti, and then you can have a Ferrari. So this Maruti cannot compete with the Ferrari, no matter how much nicely you keep it. So animal body has been designed in a particular way, and its consciousness is very limited. And human body has been designed, and this design has a purpose. So this Maruti car has been designed with one particular purpose. Ferrari, Rolls-Royce or BMW, they are designed with a different purpose. So if you take a Ferrari and try to move it in Vrindavan, it is useless. Because you can never use it to its speed, What is the use of Ferrari in Vrindavan? Therefore, there is a book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. You read this book? You heard of this book? No, there is one book. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Because what is he going to do with Ferrari in Vrindavan? So he sold it. So like that, this body is like an aeroplane or like a rocket in comparison to other bodies. And now you try an aeroplane and use it like a car, because aeroplane also has wheels. So it can also move on the road. But that is a misuse. Suppose you buy an aeroplane and you never fly it. You always use it moving on the road.
What a waste.
So first of all, it is so uncomfortable. Try to take it to the town, and everywhere it's going to hit its wings in. And then what is the use? It's going to consume so much petrol energy. You put so much money to buy it. So like this human body, we have invested a lot of money to get it. A lot of piety is needed to get the human body. So that has been done already. And now we try to taxi it on the road instead of flying with it. So when a person who knows that actually this airplane is meant to fly, not on the road, the guy who is sitting inside, suppose he doesn't know, he thinks that it's just like any other car because it has wheels. So you go and tell him, you are a fool. And he gets angry at you. He says, why? So you fly it. And then this driver says, get lost from here. Don't abuse me like this. So that's what Sonaka is telling to these people, that they are animals. Because what are they doing? That instead of being human beings who are able to fly, they are walking like animals on the four legs. They may have four wheels now, but this is what is happening. So you try to see how he is envisioning the plight of human beings who are not interested in taking to devotional path. So he becomes surprised. So this recorder is meant to record, and we paid money for that. And now suppose I just use it only as a paperweight on my book, and I never use it as a recorder. Then what will I be called? And the person who has designed it, how much unhappy he will feel. So few years ago, this Russian fellow who has designed this AK-47 came to India, and he was interviewed by one press reporter. So he said that I feel very sad because I never thought that this AK-47 will be used by terrorists to kill innocent people. So I did not design it for that. I only designed it for military purpose. So he had something in his mind, he designed it, and now people misuse it for something else. And what can he do? So similarly, this human body is very special. It has been designed by God. After designing it, he felt very happy. But if we don't use it for the proper purpose, then we must be chastised for that. So once in a while, somebody comes in the scripture and speaks very heavily for people like us who don't use it as it was designed. So therefore, you will read in Bhagavatam that they are not asking anywhere how you have to live or how you have to eat, how you have to earn your money. They are not speaking about these things. All the time giving stress on this. He says this you can figure out, you are doing it anyway. But how you should elevate your consciousness, and the topmost consciousness is this Krishna consciousness, being aware of God. Now we are conscious only of our body and its bodily needs. So for this reason he said in the previous verse which we read that his ears are like the holes which are nice apartment for the snakes. So these ears are meant to be utilized for hearing Krishna Katha. But instead we are only filling it up with garbage. So garbage in, garbage out. And whatever we pour in, that comes out from the mouth. And that's why he said that first he spoke about the ears and then he spoke about the tongue. Because whatever you will hear, then you will speak accordingly. So first he said that the ears are like the holes, and then he said tongue is like the frog's tongue, only hurting others, sharp catching and smashing these insects inside the mouth. So then in the next verse, verse number 21, he says, Bharah param patta kirita justam apyutmangam namen mukundam shavo karo na kurta sapariyam hare lasat kanchana kankanava. Says that head which does not bow down in front of the Lord, then it is only a burden. Even if it is decorated nicely with a turban or with a crown. So this head should bow down to the Lord. Otherwise, it is only a headache. You are carrying headache. And the hands, they are meant to do service for the Lord. And if you don't do that, then he says, then you should consider that these are the hands of a dead body. Shavav karo na kurutay saparyam. And someone says, but they are very nicely decorated with bangles and bracelets and nail polish. So he says it doesn't matter. That does not beautify them. So the beauty of the hands is not the ornaments we put on them, but the service we perform with them. So beauty of human body is not in fair skin or lighter skin or all these other they have their measurements. It lies how it is used in the service of the Lord. That is its beauty. Beauty is in character. This external beauty, as they say, is skin deep. Inside everybody is same. Our external skin may look differently, but inside everyone is same. But beyond that is the character of a person, consciousness of the person, and that's what makes difference. That's what makes somebody as Mahatma, a great soul, or a rogue. It's not that great souls are big in size. No, their consciousness is bigger. They are not limited only to their body. A person of low consciousness, he limits himself only to his own body or her own body. And great souls are those who think bigger, outside. Ayam nijo paroveti ganana laguchet sam udar charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. This is mine, that is yours. This is how the people of petty minds think. But those who have generous heart, they consider the whole world as a family. So the whole world as a family means that their consciousness is not limited by the boundaries of body or the house or something. So usually we limit our consciousness. Somebody builds a small house and that's all he is bothered only about that, nothing more than that. Somebody goes a little bigger than that. They may think of the state or nation. But the biggest is to consider the whole world because it is all one piece created by God. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So that is godly consciousness, that is divine consciousness. Otherwise the body is dead. The body is not living, it is soul who lives. Body is always dead. Till the time soul infuses it with consciousness, it appears to be living. It's like you have a bulb and then you turn on, there is electricity in it, so it gives light. So the light is not coming from the bulb, it is coming from the electricity. As long as the switch is on, it illuminates. You turn off the switch, immediately finished. So like that, there is a spark of light inside the body, and it is giving light. It is looking alive. When that spark leaves, then immediately it is cold, dark. It has no beauty anymore. Even the most beautiful person becomes horrible after death. Nobody wants to keep a dead body in the house. So just as the hands of a dead body, they don't do service to the Lord, and they are called hands of a dead body. And similarly, if a person is living and does not do service to the Lord, those hands are also as good as the hands of a dead body. This is what he means. So there is a commentary by Sri Vishwanath. उत्तमांगम शिरः पट्टवस्त्रो उष्णिशेन च किरीटेन च जुष्टमपि परम केवलम भारा. So if the head does not bow down to the Lord, even if you put a nice turban with a silk cloth, it is a burden only, or a very nice crown. Sansara sindho pravishantam tam adhikam nimajjayati. Why it is considered as a burden? Because if you are in an ocean and you are drowning then head will help you to go down. But it's also weight. So like that, this material world is like an ocean. And if our hand is not used for bowing down the Lord, then it will only help you to go down materially, this ocean of material world. Because this hand will give you ideas which will be materialistic ideas, which will only bind you to materialism. So that's how it will become like a burden. Something is in the water and you put more weight on it, it will drown more quickly. शवो मृतकः तत्सम्बन्धिनौ इति देवपित्रादयेऽपि दत्तं जलादिकम् अशुचित्वा न गृह्णन्ति इति भावः. And the hands which don't do service to the Lord, he says, they are just like the hands of a dead body. Why? Because even if he performs something good, suppose he may give oblations to the forefathers, they will not accept, because the hands are asuchi, impure, like dead body is considered as impure. So because they are hands of a dead body, they are impure, so the forefathers, they will not accept the oblations if the hands are not used for serving the Lord. Then he says, Barahayite tenene naranam lingani vishnurna nirikṣato ye pado nirnanto drumajanma bhajo kshetrani nanu vrajito hariryo. Says that the eyes which do not see the form of the Lord, they are compared to the eye-like marks on the feathers of a peacock. You see this peacock feather towards the end, they have this round thing which looks like an eye. So just as this peacock feather, they don't see the eye of the Lord, they don't see the form of the Lord, then human eyes are also like that. And the legs of a man who does not walk to the holy places related to Lord Krishna, they are just like the trees. So it's like tree stands in one place, or the root of a tree. So they are considered like that. ये नयने विष्णोर मूर्ति न निरीक्षिते ते बर्हायिते mayura पिच्छतुल्ये इति. The eyes which don't see the deity form of the Lord, they are like the peacock feather, the sign of eye and the ताभ्याम आत्मने उद्धार पदवीम अपश्यन्तः संसार कंटक क्षेत्रे एव पतन्ति. Why is that? He says, with these eyes he does not see the solution how to get out from this material world. Rather, he uses these eyes to fall into a forest full of thorns. Means he will only, the eyes which lead us when we walk, they will only lead you to misery. द्रुम जन्म भजेते इति ता तथा तौ वृक्ष मूल तुल्यौ इति यमदूतैरेव कुठारैः छिद्यमानौ तौ भविष्यति. And if the feet are not used for walking to the Holy Land, and they are just like the roots of the trees, they have no good purpose, and they will be cut by the axe of Yamaraj in the end. So I will stop here.
Is the Bhagavatam the only scripture that gives such a strong statement, or can such statements be found in other Puranas as well?
Maybe somewhere else also, but I don't remember. It is possible that you find in other places also.